Last year I made a big deal that Jason wasn't taking her hunting enough, and that he couldn't find her a big deer. So I said, don't worry, Terri, I'll fix that, and I'll guide you to a giant whitetail. And we sat 37 times, and Terri never got a shot.
I mean, you have a trophy that's measured beyond inches.
Outcraft a king, you did.
In the deer woods, you get out what you put in. Whether a weekend warrior or a year-long fanatic, in the end, you'll earn every inch. For us, that's a 365-day-a-year grind, scouting, setting up, making it a lifestyle. There's no words that can describe what deer hunting means to some, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. And now for nearly a decade and over 100 episodes, we've shared what it means to us in film. And more importantly, we've had the opportunity to watch, hunt, and just enjoy some of the biggest and oldest deer that call the Whitetail Woods home. This is Season 8.
Dean Partridge's Canadian Whitetail is proudly brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Elite Archery, the world's most shootable bow. Stealth Cam, proven reliability, proven quality, proven performance. Excalibur Crossbow, the most trusted crossbows on the planet. Big & J Long Range Attractants, the aroma is super strong, the range is super long. Nocturnal Lighted Nocks, switch on accuracy. The Heater Bodysuit, #1 in cold weather hunting gear. Hoyman, your land, your legacy. Black Eagle Arrows, superior carbon technology. Central Boiler Outdoor Wood Furnaces, performance and value by design. The Whitetail Institute of North America. Under Armour, go where you don't belong. And by Limb Saver, products that work.
I've often said that hunts don't always go according to the plan, but then there are other hunts that not only just don't follow the plan, but they seem to turn into a complete failure of epic proportions. Like Jason's wife, Terri Petersons' 2017 hunt that actually started nearly 3 years ago and some 70 days on stand waiting for her chance at a gnarly old buck. How big the buck wasn't important. Already having a few deer to her credit, Terri wanted to take an old buck like those deer that we love to hunt. And with Jason away most of the fall on international trips, well, Steve and I stepped in to try to be the heroes of the day to help Terri get that ancient old buck that she was after. And Terri was quick to accept.
I don't think in 2013 when we started that Terri nor I knew the road ahead. And after a long season with just days left in minus 30 degrees Celsius weather, the chance at a big old buck came. Big, mature, everything that Terri had hoped for. Unfortunately, the extreme cold was not in our favor, and the buck caught Terri drawing her bow. Leaving with no shot and only a trail of disappointment behind, what was once excitement became a heartbreaking encounter and an end to our 2013 season. Terri.
Hi, Dean.
I actually came hunting again. Last year I made a big deal that Jason wasn't taking her hunting enough, and that he couldn't find her a big deer. So I said, don't worry, Terri, I'll fix that, and I'll guide you to a giant whitetail. And we sat 37 times, and Terri never got a shot. This year it wasn't going to take 37 days and minus 30 degree weather for an encounter with the buck, as late this evening he appeared. This time just as heartbreaking as in 2013. The buck doesn't give Terri a shot angle that she's comfortable with. Light fades, and the buck again walks away. It was now 2015, December, for the third year and still after the same buck. As the deer move early, it's not until last light that the big buck makes his third appearance on the third year, and hoping that 3 times is a charm, Terri gets ready. And for the third year in a row, Terri does not get a chance to shoot, and we watch him walk away again, closing our season.
The past couple of seasons, well, things just weren't working out. We'd came close, really close, but we weren't having any luck.
This segment has been brought to you by Central Boiler Outdoor Wood Furnaces. A central boiler easily connects to your existing forced air, in-floor radiant, baseboard, or dual heat system to heat your entire home in domestic water. Central Boiler, performance and value by design. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by Slick Trick Broadheads and Dual Game Calls. Glendale, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the universe. Bog Pod, more than just a shooting rest. Raculator, score your trophy fast, easy, and accurate. And by Scott Archery and Custom Bow Equipment. This segment has been brought to you by the Heater Bodysuit. The Heater Bodysuit is the ultimate cold weather hunting garment that allows you to stay on stand longer and sit comfortably. The Heater Bodysuit. You stay warm or your money back.
Now in 2016, life had taken over, and it wasn't until late in the season that Terri was able to start putting time in the stand. But early in the afternoon, the deer began to move. After an evening of watching deer, just at last light, we were about to have an encounter with a buck that we had never seen before. A heavy framed 8, great mass, and a drop tine off the base, this buck had caught Terri and me off guard. As the buck came by, we had had opportunity to shoot, but unsure of the deer, I had asked Terri to pass, maybe watching the buck that she'd hoped for walk away.
As nice as the deer was at the time, it was a new deer. I didn't know how old, and I didn't think that this was a deer that Terri had waited years for. Nice, but not the one. Of course, that was until he walked out, and I had an instant gut feeling that we may have let the one walk that we shouldn't have. I felt torn and like I'd let Terri down. However, we did have one trick up our sleeve yet. We had set up a spot, a trail camera, and put out some Big & J, and instantly had photos of an incredible deer. The downside was the season was nearly over, but we were headed in to sit for the tall, narrow 10.
Heading in, I knew this could be the day. The buck was big, hitting the area hard, hitting the Big & J, and was on the stealth cam almost steady. And with hours ticking in the season, I was praying that this would be the day that Terri could finally release an arrow after 4 years of waiting. In and settled, this young buck looks back, and just as planned, there was the big narrow buck. A tall frame, long beams, this was the buck. This was the kind of deer that Terri had been waiting for, and he was heading our way. But something was nagging that it just couldn't be this easy. Stopping to make a rub, the big buck looks to the northeast alert, trots a couple of steps, and my stomach drops. With one last look over his shoulder, he bounds away for an unknown reason, taking Terri's 2016 with him.
Oh my God. I have no idea what just happened. There's 1 day left in the season. That's beyond getting robbed. I don't even know what to say.
Welcome to this week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment. Locate, learn, set up, hunt. Brought to you by Big & J Long Range Attractants. The aroma is super strong. The range is super long.
We've always said that your odds go up dramatically if you're hunting in the right spot. and that time spent finding that right spot is much more valuable than hunting in the wrong spot. But the truth is, whether you don't have permission or for any other reason, sometimes you just can't be in the right spot for that buck that you want to go after. Then you have to decide how bad you want that deer. If that's the only buck for you, you can still make it happen. It's just going to take some more time. Get in the best spot you can and use a good attractant like Big & J's BB Squared and collect as much information about that deer as you can, given your limited exposure to them. Map out your trail camera photos and try to look for certain conditions, certain weather patterns, that buck makes a mistake or makes an appearance. And then take that information and make the best plan you can given your circumstances. No spot is perfect. Even though that's always the goal, it's seldom achieved. But the further you get away from that ideal setup, the further down your odds are going to go. But by hunting smart and putting in more time, you can still land that target buck. And that's your Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment for the week.
This week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment has been brought to you by Big & J Long Range Attractants. This segment has been brought to you by Bog Pod. More than just a shooting rest. Bog Pod. Prepare for the unknown.
After a rough couple of years for Terri, this year was 2017, a new year, and it seemed like there might be some new luck as well. We came in today, we got this blind set up, and we're gonna call this a river blind, and that's because it's right on a river and some of the draws that are coming off it, but we kind of set it up backwards because the river's actually behind us where the big river bottom is. But we set it up backwards because we set it for the deer, not for the spot. And the buck that we're looking at here, he travels the hills, the river hills on the north side here. Last year he had a kicker and a little weird drop tine off his base. He's actually a mature deer last year that came in on Terri Peterson when she was hunting with me. We let the deer go, and when he walked away and I was watching him walk away, I kind of had a good feeling that we had made a mistake. When I got home, I looked at the footage. We looked at the footage in better light, and it was quite apparent he was a really nice deer, but he did grow this year. His frame's bigger. He lost his sticker and that little drop tine. We moved down here, we put a trail camera up and some deadly dust, and he was right here immediately. He's been here right since. So we found out that this is obviously his house. We got down here, we got set up.
After getting set up, when checking the stealth cam the following week, the buck was right there, a year older and a year bigger. We were hoping that this might be the spot that Terri would get her chance. With opening day now here, Terri takes a few last practice shots before heading to the new blind with Steve running the camera. Shortly after getting settled, a very unique buck steps out of the river hills, making his way to the deadly dust. An awesome middle-aged triple-beam non-typical buck, but a deer that we were hoping would live one more year. Although the Big 8 had not made an appearance, what a treat just for them to get to watch this buck. And that night while leaving, Steve checked a different trail camera over a mile away on their way out. And well, that explained them not seeing the Big 8. He had been at this other spot for the last 4 days, and in good light. Along with another buck that we call the Old 9, that we had watched for nearly a decade through trail cameras only, but had never seen in person, ever. Not changing a great deal over the years, this ghost was the epitome of any whitetailer's dream, and having beaten the odds, never even being seen by us, in all those years we'd only found one shed from the buck. Given that the Big 8 had been hanging around the stand and the outside chance that we may see the Old 9, the next day this is where Terri and I headed. Early, the deer began to move on this overcast, cool day. In pure shock, I looked to my right and seen something that I had not seen in 9 years. To my disbelief, it was the ancient Old 9.
This segment has been brought to you by Nocturnal Lighted Nocks. Simple, string activated. And now you can get 15% off all items by entering promo code Whitetail15 at Faradyne.com. Nocturnal lighted nocks, switch on accuracy, and let it glow. This segment has been brought to you by Glendale, the only 3D target with a replaceable 4-sided core. And now you can get 15% off all items by entering promo code Whitetail15 at Faraday.com. Glendale, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the universe.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were in the midst of an encounter with a legendary old whitetail, and he was headed our way. A flood of emotion filled the blind, having an encounter with a buck of this age class that we had watched from the very start, but had always outsmarted us. And now Terri, dreaming of a big old buck of her own, on the verge of having a chance at a living legend.
Terri, do you know what you just did? Terri.
Did we do it?
That's not even the buck we're here for. That's that lean back 9 that you started. I think the first time you hunted that deer is like 6 years ago.
Oh my God.
That deer's a legend. We've got sheds off him. I don't think we've ever even filmed that deer, Terri. And I think you drilled him perfectly. And we've had some close calls. We've had deer come in that you wanted to shoot. Or not that you wanted to shoot, not that we told you couldn't shoot it, but there's been a few deer that I've said, it's a nice deer. That's not the deer that you've waited 60 nights for. That is the deer that you waited.
Actually, after we looked at the footage, it looked like we can see him go down on tape, and Stevie came, and Stevie said, oh, he's down. So
we have a buck.
Slide in there and have a look. So there's lots of blood right from the start here.
I know a secret. I can see the deer.
Still got blood over there?
Oh, looky what I see.
Oh my God. Oh my God, how long has this been coming?
Terri, it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
This is pretty unique because this is not the deer we're hunting, and this is exactly the deer we've been hunting for how many years, because last year we had a good encounter with a heavy, mature 4x4, and when he walked in it was lower light. Terri wanted to shoot him. We'd spent a lot of time looking for what Terri wanted, and I kind of looked at her and I said, Terri, he's a nice deer, but I don't think that's the deer you've waited 40 sits for, 50 sits for. And she let him walk after we looked at the footage, and that one might have been my mistake because he was a pretty nice deer and I might have been a little quick to judge him. This year we found him again and he grew a little bit more. We set up for him down on the flat, and then I checked the card from up the top, and we were looking through the card and Steve says, there he is. And the buck that she was hunting down on the bottom had been through up here every day for a few days. So we came up here to sit tonight, and he came in first in broad daylight. And the reason I say he wasn't the deer we're hunting, but he is, it's because this deer's been here since 2009 when we started coming here. Like, it's crazy. We're gonna look through the pictures to really try to nail down how old he is. You have a trophy that's measured beyond inches. I mean, that's an incredible deer. Anyway, I'll jump out of the way because I know Steve's itching to have a look at him. He's watched that deer for a lot of years too.
Outcraft a king, you did.
It's my turn, right?
Your turn, yeah. There's nobody more deserving, let me tell you guys. This girl was sat in -30 weather, snow up to our waist, rain, wind, you name it, she's been out there. Hot pockets everywhere, stuffed everywhere. Yeah, awesome. Congratulations again, Terri.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Well, congratulations, Terri, on taking an ancient old buck, a deer that you definitely deserved and earned. And what an experience it was for both Steve and I to get to watch the lean back 9 for a decade, to watch that deer grow up and to have close calls but never encounters with him until he was over 10 years old. He's a deer that I'm sure we're going to miss in the deer woods when we're checking our trail cameras, but I'm also sure we'll see his offspring in the area for years to come. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Canadian Whitetail.
This segment has been brought to you by Wild Edge and the ultimate climbing system, the Step Ladder. Safely design your climb in any tree, anywhere, with the most versatile, lightweight, and compact climbing system, the Step Ladder. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by these fine sponsors. For exclusive content, follow Dean and the team on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter @WhitetailDean. To view all our past and present episodes, as well as new original content, visit our YouTube, Carbon TV, and Waypoint TV channels. For Canadian Whitetail gear and apparel, visit CanadianWhitetailTV.com.